In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NFL games happening on October 6, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NFL games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New York Giants versus Seattle Seahawks. The New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks are set to face off in Week 5 of NFL action, which will take place at Lumen Field on Sunday afternoon. This matchup features 2 teams with very different trajectories, as the Giants continue to struggle while the Seahawks look to rebound from a recent tough loss. While the Giants will likely apply significant pressure on Seattle's quarterback Geno Smith, they seem to lack the offensive firepower needed to stay competitive against the Seahawks. Seattle's defense, which struggled in their game against Detroit, should be able to improve its performance in this contest. The Giants, on the other hand, have looked like one of the weakest offensive units in the league, and with wide receiver Malik Nabers currently in the concussion protocol, their chances appear even slimmer. The Seahawks will be highly motivated to get back on track after their hard-fought loss to the Detroit Lions. Expect them to rely heavily on their running game, especially since the Giants don't seem to have enough offensive strength to counter effectively. New York simply lacks the firepower to keep up, especially with injuries mounting on their side. The Giants have performed well against the spread, going 8-3 in their last 11 games overall. However, their track record against the Seahawks is less encouraging, as they have gone just 1-6 both straight up and against the spread in their last 7 meetings with Seattle. New York has leaned heavily on rookie wide receiver Malik Nabers this season, but with him unlikely to play due to the concussion he suffered against the Cowboys, the Giants' offense could be in serious trouble. Nabers has not practiced this week and remains in the early stages of the concussion protocol. His absence would be a devastating blow to a Giants passing game that already faces a daunting task in keeping the game competitive. Compounding their problems, running back Devin Singletary is also dealing with a groin injury sustained in the same game, leaving his availability for Sunday uncertain. If both Nabers and Singletary are sidelined, the Giants' offense will struggle even more, even against a Seattle defense dealing with its own share of injuries. On the flip side, the Seahawks' offense appears to be hitting its stride. Quarterback Geno Smith and the rest of the unit have adjusted well to new offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb's system, and they are now firing on all cylinders. Given how porous the Giants' secondary has been, Seattle should have little trouble executing their passing game effectively in this matchup. Earlier in the week, I initially leaned toward backing the Giants, especially since they were getting nearly a touchdown in what appeared to be a favorable spot. Historically, underdogs of 6 or more points have performed exceptionally well this season, going an impressive 14-2-1 against the spread, with many outright wins in the first 4 weeks. Additionally, the Giants are coming off extra rest after playing on Thursday night, while the Seahawks are fresh off a high-intensity game against a strong Lions team. Detroit's success in breaking down Seattle's defense provided a possible blueprint for other teams, including the Giants, to follow. However, despite the temptation to bet against the Seahawks after their poor defensive showing against Detroit, it's important to remember that Seattle had an easier schedule for the first 3 games before facing a tough opponent in the Lions. It's not unusual for a team to falter in their first real test. Now, the Seahawks have a more manageable opponent in the Giants, a team that has only managed to stay close in games due to their opponent's mistakes, like Dallas missing a key field goal in their matchup. Given New York's injury woes, especially on offense, the Seattle Seahawks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Even if Malik Nabers were healthy and playing, the Giants' offense has not been able to generate much scoring. None of their 4 games this season have exceeded 39 total points. The Giants understand that they must continue to rely on their defense to keep games competitive. They should be able to slow down Seattle's passing attack to some extent. The under has been a consistent trend for the Giants, with their last 5 games going under the total. Additionally, the under has hit in the last 8 games the Giants have played in October and in 5 of their last 6 matchups with the Seahawks. Given these trends, along with the likelihood that Nabers will remain sidelined, I expect a low-scoring affair. Therefore, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Green Bay Packers versus Los Angeles Rams. The Green Bay Packers will travel to the West Coast this Sunday to face the injury-riddled Los Angeles Rams in a matchup between two teams with postseason aspirations in the National Football Conference. The Packers are entering this contest with a 2-2 record, having just lost a high-scoring affair to the Minnesota Vikings at home last week. On the other side, the Rams are struggling with a 1-3 record as they attempt to adapt to a new reality without their top two wide receivers. The two teams last met in November, where the Packers secured a comfortable 20-3 victory. One of the key factors that could hinder the Rams' chances on Sunday is the possible absence of wide receiver Demarcus Robinson. He's currently listed as questionable, and even if he does suit up, his performance is likely to be limited. The Packers' secondary has been highly opportunistic throughout the season, which has been the primary reason they lead the league in turnover margin. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford has faced constant pressure in recent weeks, forced to scramble and check down due to injuries to his offensive line and the absence of his best offensive weapons. As a result, the Rams are ranked 24th in turnover margin, a clear disadvantage heading into this game. On the offensive side for Green Bay, expect Jordan Love to start strong against a Rams defense that ranks 31st in total defense. Additionally, the Packers are likely to lean heavily on running back Josh Jacobs, especially against the Rams' 27th ranked run defense, which could open up passing opportunities downfield. With the speed of the Packers receivers on the fast track at SoFi Stadium, this Rams defense could find itself in trouble, especially with its low ranking. The injuries continue to mount for Matthew Stafford and the Rams, as evidenced by their lackluster performance against the Chicago Bears last week. Stafford has been trying to spread the ball around to receivers like Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington, but it's clear he misses star wideouts Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who will again be absent for this matchup against Green Bay. In contrast, I expect Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs to establish themselves early and often in this game. The Rams' defensive struggles are significant as they rank last in the league in yards per pass, yards per play allowed, and 30th in third down conversion defense. Facing an explosive Packers offense in a dome only amplifies these concerns. While both teams will likely find ways to score, the Packers are expected to put up big numbers, especially with the Rams' weaknesses. Despite playing at SoFi Stadium, the crowd will likely have a strong Packers presence, making it feel almost like a home game for Green Bay. With Love returning to full health, I don't expect the Packers to start slow. They should have no trouble building a substantial lead, while Stafford and the Rams will struggle to keep up. Given these factors, the Green Bay Packers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Looking at the red zone, I anticipate that the Rams will take more aggressive chances after their struggles against the Bears. They can't afford to trade field goals for touchdowns when facing a high-powered Packers offense. On the other hand, Green Bay should be much more effective inside the 5-yard line, especially with Josh Jacobs leading the charge against the Rams' vulnerable defensive front. Expect the Packers to dominate in the red zone. For the Rams to stay competitive, they will need to rely on the creativity of head coach Sean McVay, particularly with red zone opportunities. McVay is likely to involve Kyren Williams heavily in both the running game and passing game when inside the 20-yard line. Despite the Rams' depleted receiving core, Matthew Stafford and the offense have managed to move the ball effectively at times. Although they were careless in the red zone last week against the Bears, they still showed flashes of potential. I expect them to keep pace with the Packers for a portion of the game, but ultimately fall behind in the second half. The Packers have averaged over 28 points per game in their last 10 meetings with the Rams, and with the total going over in 6 of Green Bay's last 8 games against National Football Conference opponents. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers will face off against the Dallas Cowboys in a Sunday night American Football Conference versus National Conference football showdown at Acrisure Stadium. The Cowboys, currently sitting at a 2-2 record, are coming off a crucial divisional win against the New York Giants last week. That victory has given them some much-needed momentum, which they hope will carry over into this challenging matchup. On the other hand, the Steelers are off to an impressive start with a 3-1 record, placing them in prime contention within the AFC North. The last time these two teams met in 2020, Pittsburgh secured a narrow 5-point victory. The teams have split their last 4 meetings, dating back to 2008, with 2 wins apiece. This matchup is shaping up to be a classic contest between 2 of the NFL's most storied franchises, and fans won't want to miss it. Sunday night's game will feature a rare and highly anticipated clash between 2 legendary franchises, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. However, it's clear that one of these teams is performing better than the other at the moment. The Cowboys are not the dominant force they once were, which was evident even in their win last Thursday night. They managed to beat the Giants on the road, but it wasn't a convincing victory. The Giants outgained the Cowboys in both yards and first downs but couldn't capitalize in the red zone, allowing Dallas to escape with a win. While the Cowboys deserve credit for halting their losing streak, their roster is banged up. DeMarcus Lawrence is on injured reserve, Micah Parsons is doubtful, and wide receiver Brandon Cooks is set to miss Week 5. As a result, Dallas, with a 2-2 record, limps into this contest with some key players sidelined. The Steelers are coming off a disappointing performance last Sunday, where they suffered their second loss in 2 seasons to an Indianapolis Colts team that seems to have their number, particularly when playing at Lucas Oil Stadium. Pittsburgh would like to forget that game, which was filled with mistakes and missed opportunities. Despite those errors, the Steelers managed to rack up 404 yards of offense, their highest output in 4 games, and nearly pulled off a win, losing 27-24. Even though they allowed 27 points, the Steelers' defense remains one of the best in the league, ranking in the top 5 across several key categories. To add to their optimism, quarterback Justin Fields seems to have found his rhythm in Pittsburgh, offering hope for future success. Last season, the Steelers were 5-2 against the spread following a loss, which points to this being a Mike Tomlin game, the type where Pittsburgh corrects its mistakes and comes out with a strong performance. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' offense has struggled, ranking last in the NFL in rushing, and their defense, even when healthy, ranks 25th in yards allowed per play. Justin Fields nearly orchestrated a comeback in the Steelers' narrow 27-24 loss to the Colts last week, showing off his skills both in the air and on the ground. Despite this, the Steelers keep providing updates on Russell Wilson's status, with coach Mike Tomlin noting that Wilson will return to practice this week. While Wilson isn't expected to start against Dallas, Fields' leash will be short. That said, Fields has a favorable matchup against a depleted Dallas defense that will be without DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. This could be a prime opportunity for Steelers running back Najee Harris to exploit a Cowboys defense that's giving up 145 rushing yards per game, ranking 27th in the league. The Steelers boast one of the NFL's top defenses, and with the Cowboys' recent offensive struggles, Pittsburgh is set up perfectly to control the tempo of the game. Dallas has had difficulty establishing any semblance of a running game, and without Parsons and Lawrence anchoring their defense, it will be even harder for them to find success on the road. The Steelers' ability to manage the clock and dictate the pace of the game will likely be the deciding factor in this matchup. As a result, the Pittsburgh Steelers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. While we're not exactly sold on the Dallas Cowboys' overall performance this season, there were some positive takeaways from last Thursday's game, particularly on defense. The Cowboys' secondary came up big when it mattered most, securing a crucial interception and forcing the Giants to settle for 5 field goals after moving into Dallas territory. Though injuries to key defenders like Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence will hurt their chances this week, the next man-up mentality often comes into play in these situations. New defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer has a track record of maximizing his players' potential, and while the Steelers' offense, led by Justin Fields, is improving, they are still only managing 19 points per game, ranking 22nd in the league. Dallas will need its defense to step up if they hope to contain Pittsburgh on Sunday night. There are 2 major concerns for the Cowboys' offense heading into this matchup. First, they are incredibly unbalanced, featuring the worst rushing attack in the league by a significant margin. This puts pressure on a subpar offensive line to protect Dak Prescott, who will be operating in a pass-heavy scheme once again. So far, the results haven't been encouraging, with the Cowboys ranking 20th in yards per pass attempt and 22nd in completion percentage. Second, Pittsburgh's T.J. Watt, the NFL's top edge rusher, was kept in check during last week's game against Indianapolis. However, Watt and the rest of the Steelers' defense are eager to rebound, and the muddy, cold conditions in Pittsburgh are ideal for a defensive takeover. Although the Steelers put up solid numbers last week, they will likely need to rely on their defense and their ability to control the game through the ground attack. This game will come down to who can establish dominance in the trenches. For the Cowboys, their struggles to replicate last season's offensive production, combined with the need to lean heavily on their defense, should at least keep the Steelers' offense in check. A low-scoring, defensive battle is expected, with both teams likely to have difficulty finding the end zone. We project the final score to be around 20-16 in favor of the Steelers, making under the projected total our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.